50 episodes, and 1 year later, we say goodbye to Chol Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity, and open the doors to Kakusei Hunter Omegahorn. Huh? Gavan Infinity only lasted half a year? Thank God. I've said so many times that Toei Tokusatsu should cut their shows in half, and now that we're actually getting that, is it a good thing? Yes. No. Much like Toei Toku, let's lay this out before getting to Project Red proper. In previous podcasts and videos, I mentioned that while I enjoy a lot of Toei Tokusatsu, sometimes it feels like these shows drag on for a little too long, plus having specials and post-series movies can add to that fatigue. I think it mostly comes from a place of knowing that the story is either already over, or that characters already had their growth. Of course, there are always exceptions, but for the most part, I don't want to feel like a show overstayed its welcome. Then we get the opposite feeling, where some shows could benefit from having more. There's not one easy answer to say which is better, because there are tons of examples of good, long shows, bad, short shows, and vice versa. Generally, I feel like if a show is episodic, like Super Sentai or Ultraman, then any amount of episodes are fine because anything can happen in a day-to-day format. If a show is serialized, then shorter is better because the story wouldn't drag out. Kamen Rider gets around this by cutting its series into serialized arcs. Ever since Heisei Phase 2, Kamen Rider's first arc laid out the groundwork and gimmick line, then continuing arcs have a secondary writer or antagonist to introduce, followed by power-up for the main writer. Soon the final form rolls around, and we enter the final battle. It's a proven formula that you won't unnotice once you see it. Again, not always one-to-one, but it's generally there. Garo has a great mix of both episodic and serialized stories, as these formulas are split into two halves of one season. Go back further and non-Toei Toku are a bit more episodic, especially in the early 2000s and Showa era. Heck, even Power Rangers and other Ameritoku were mostly episodic. So, Gavan Infinity, the very first series of Project Red, had to lay out some expectations for the future. But did it really? Gavan Infinity has a more episodic approach with a loose thread of the multiverse as an overarching plotline. Personally, I felt like the show was doing great with its characters and I loved what it had to offer because it held its own as an homage to the original Gavan, while bringing new ideas to the original Gavan. At first, we didn't know if Gavan Infinity would be 50 episodes long, so starting out episodic might have turned off modern viewers, expecting an ongoing story since, well, I think this is more of a personal observation. Serialized stories are the more popular formula. Again, at least from what I've seen online. When you look at polls and discussions from all over the world, not just Japan, it appears that serialized stories are more popular. Yes, Den-O and Kyoryuger are among the top choices, but seeing serialized stories at the top isn't a coincidence either. And now finally circling back to the main thesis. While I do enjoy Gavan Infinity, it raises multiple concerns with me. Project Red is going to have 2 series a year, at least for its introduction, but that already seems like too much. Hold on, Marcosatsu, which is it? Do you want shorter seasons or not? Easy answer, do what Ultraman does. Long answer, I'm afraid of the shows competing with themselves, leading to yet another drop series. You gotta remember, even if Project Red fails, that does not mean Super Sentai is returning to take its place anytime soon, and especially not in 10 years. Kamen Rider Decade was short, so Rider wouldn't have to compete with Sentai, but now that's going to happen with Omegahorn and Kamen Rider Mice. You might not know, or maybe you just had a feeling, that Gavan Infinity's toy line isn't selling very well. Photos have been floating around of its toys taking up a lot of spaces in stores, even at discounts. Kamen Rider will probably always sell well, which means Omegahorn is going to have to step up hard to even think about reaching those heights. Well, Omegahorn's toy line looks interesting. There will be a good variety of colorful characters to choose from, and it'll all be cheaper at MSRP than a Kamen Rider belt. Huh. This sure does sound like another different show, which I think is another positive. At first, I thought Emo Gears as a gimmick were kinda uninspired. I did like them and they are cute, but they were also too simple as an introduction to Project Red. Funnily enough, once Omegahorn was announced, it felt like there was a collective, oh, so this is what Project Red really is. Emo Gears were simple because their true gimmick is how they connect to the next series, possibly even more after Omegahorn. It's smart, and it took half a year for it to click, but that's also smart thinking for the series as a whole. Starting out a bit basic with Gavan Infinity and really changing things up with Omegahorn. And that begs the question, can this go on for another 10 years? Another 25 years? Another 50? A Toku boomer could say, they have said, that Toei Toku was running out of ideas since 2002. I don't think that's true, but it could be true eventually. And having 2 Project Red series a year could have that happen even faster. Then again, it did take Kamen Rider 55 years to finally use eggs as a gimmick. Then again, we had cards as a gimmick 3 times now. Then again, Sentai reused motifs years apart. So what did I mean by do what Ultraman does? Modern Ultraman shows have about 25 episodes and a movie, which to me is the perfect amount. What about the rest of the year? If the time slot isn't used, then Supro lose it. So to get around this, they introduced Ultraman New Generation Stars. It's a season of clip shows. Yep, that's quite literally it. There are themes to them, of course, like Ultraman Zero and others narrating over past battles or retelling certain storylines. For the most part, they're just clip shows and I hate them, but they're also necessary. I think Project Red could do the same once it's been around long enough, or even use it to introduce viewers to other Toei Tokusatsu, not just Kamen Rider, Metal Heroes, and Super Sentai. This isn't also the only thing I meant by do what Ultraman does. A big elephant in the room is, America, and the UK, and other PAL regions. Ultraman didn't forget us, though it's starting to feel like Toei has. This whole topic could be its own video, and we did go deep into it before, but if you get it, you get it. One theory previously brought up for Project Red replacing Sentai was so that Toei could have full distribution rights around the world. So, where is it? Actually, Gavan Infinity and Omegahorn were officially distributed outside Japan, in Brazil, through Tokusatsu. The US is slowly getting Toku support from Toei, but it feels extremely bare bones at the moment, with some Toku even being pulled back due to contracts. Kamen Rider Zets was officially subbed in English, and we have had official word that future writers could get the same treatment. Unfortunately, Sentai isn't being pushed anymore, and we haven't had a single peep about Gavan Infinity, let alone Omegahorn. And there's the UK. Poor UK didn't even get anything. Originally, I was gonna end the video about there, until even more of Omegahorn was revealed. The very first look at the new show was incredible. But it also wasn't very much. Like, the first trailer showed Captain Omegahorn and the monsters. Our second preview shows more characters and locations, and wow, this looks amazing! If you're a Tokusatsu fan. I saw comments saying that it's supposed to look cheap and that Toku fans are used to it. See, that's part of my next concern. Super Sentai was already failing long before its forever hiatus. And while, yeah, I think Omegahorn looks cool, this is also supposed to be competing with Kamen Rider and other Toei properties. A premise can only carry so much. A story can only carry so much. It's a combination of aesthetics, characters, action, stories, and consistency in long-form media like television shows that have to appeal to a wider audience. You and I may cheer at this next step in Project Red, but without an official avenue to watch it, and without wider support from Japanese viewers, then this could easily fall as Sentai did. At some point, Toei might even question why they need Tokusatsu in the first place. Super Sentai didn't die for Project Red. Project Red was made because Super Sentai died. The bottom line is that while the future is uncertain, I hope Project Red does well for itself, and as my besties Kantho said, we're very, positively, cautiously optimistic. I'll support Project Red however I can, if I can officially, and I'll be there for Neo Kaiketsu Zoop at the second. Good luck, Project Red. You're really gonna need it.